It's Friday afternoon, which means it's time to kick off your weekend with the Random Christian Show. Today, the Random Christian Show is interviewing author Cae Cordell. The Random Christian Show is brought to you by Mrs. A's famous Salsa BUENA, a unique blended salsa loaded with cilantro and just the right amount of heat. Mrs. A's famous Salsa BUENA is available in stores across California, Colorado, Nevada, Southern Oregon, and expanding more every day. To find a store near you, just visit mrsafamous.com. The Random Christian Show is proudly supported by The Advisor. The Advisor is a Facebook group created by Colonel James Neal Broadus, composed of multi-talents such as actors, directors, artists, writers, and more. If you fall into this category, contact them on Facebook at The Advisor. The Random Christian Show can now be seen on the Rabbit in Red Radio Network. Check them out at rabbitinredradio.com. Intro music provided by the Dead Campers. Check them out on Spotify and at deadcampers.com. Next week, the Random Christian Show is interviewing Zach from the ska band Chilled Monkey Brains. My name is Andy. Now here's your host, Christian Random.
Hey yo! Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. Hi,
Hey.
I'm Christian. There's Andy. Look, I pointed the right direction this time. Yay.
Right. Did you lose a finger?
Maybe
It seems shorter. Oh, no. You're just pointed that way. You're just pointed awkward. I thought there was some
Kinda
weird accident that
shoulder.
maybe you had lost your finger or something.
Yeah. Well, it's still early, and
Yeah, you never know what can happen on the show.
it's a new day. It's not Tuesday. It's
No.
Friday.
We made it. We actually started the show. And we're here, Friday.
Yeah, that's right. We're getting wacky because we figured, hey, everybody's
Friday.
asleep on Tuesdays. So, we've just, we have a whole list of reasons why we're now on Friday, which we'll share with you in a moment. But, we just thought it'd be a little bit easier for people to interact and have some fun with us. So, and what a way to start the weekend.
Why not?
Sitting here
Right?
listening to a couple of chuckleheads and then bringing on some very talented people and letting them do their thing. So this is what we do every week. We're here now on Fridays, 4 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Mountain, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern. 5
plus 1?
Well, just in case
Are you thumbs upping the fact that we're on at 5 Eastern?
in case they're in
I don't-
Nova
what-
Scotia.
That doesn't mean it. That's still Eastern time, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's
It's
plus
plus
one.
one? Plus 1. Oh, okay.
Well, they're Canadian, so
So Nova Scotia time?
yeah.
Oh, really?
I gotta
Quit poking me in the shoulder.
All right, sorry about that.
I'm going to throw an angry cat on you.
It's yes, from the black cats of Instagram.
Right.
Here it is. Welcome to it, kids. We're so glad you're here. And remember, we do have a live chat, so when it's time to start yippee yapping, join in with us. We've got author, minister, abuse survivor. This woman is absolutely amazing.
Woodcutter. Woodcutter as well.
Home builder, chicken
Yeah.
raiser. I'm pretty sure there's not a whole lot she cannot do.
Yeah.
Her story is absolutely amazing. It's mind-blowing and amazing. She's just an amazing woman and with such an amazing attitude. She just blew me away when we first started talking. I was like, I can't wait to get her on. So we're very excited about that. And then next week, we're going just a complete 180 into Chilled Monkey Brains, vocalist and guitarist, chief songwriter, Zach. He will be joining us. It's a ska punk band. They very much remind me of the band No Effects in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah.
You see what you get what I'm talking about?
No, I got that vibe as well I
was just when I heard one clip from them and I was just like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
And as you may or may not have referenced, I very much love ska and ska punk. and a lot of other stuff. But it's one of my more main loves, and so I thought, let's start getting some of these people in. And we actually have Mida or Mida. I'm not sure how to say his name.
Yeah. I needed to. I need to reference a couple of other things that he's been on before I can.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do some clarification
at the beginning. Yeah,
he'll be coming up in a few weeks. He's from Ska Punk Radio, and just a great, fun guy. Super knowledgeable. If you ever want to know anything about ska or ska punk, this guy, it's amazing. So anyway. But not as amazing as Cae, who's going to be on here soon. And how amazing it is to be on a Friday.
Right?
I'm not going to know what to do with myself because I don't have to go to work tomorrow. I'm going to just... It's weird. It's still freaking me out right now as it is. And...
Okay. Just relax. Everything's going to be fine. There you go. There you go. Hey, do the woo-sa.
Calm Blue Ocean.
Woo-sa.
Calm Blue Ocean.
Woo-sa. Good. All right, how we
going
feeling?
in the wrong direction?
No. Stop.
I'm going a little wacky, is what I'm saying there. All right. So, yes, we are very happy to be here on Fridays. We are happy to have you. Thank you all so much. Hey, like, support, share, and follow and do all that stuff that we really need. Andy, we are absolutely right now $1 away from Happy Meal Time.
Yes,
I know.
That's right.
Yeah,
hopefully that happens while they're still giving out the current toy selection.
Right. Yeah, I know, dude. You got to get it before the end of the month. So we will be we're going to be Rich from iHeart Radio and we won't be able to have juice with our Happy Meals, but water, which is healthier.
Right. We'll be able to share a pack of apple slices.
Absolutely. No ketchup for the fries, though.
Absolutely not. No.
Maybe mustard.
Yeah.
Because lots of people don't use that much mustard, so they're always
true.
All right. So as we have now moved to Friday, we had to do some clarifying. And so we did some research. Well, our crack team of crackhead researchers. Basically, there it is. Thanks for queuing that up right on time. Our production team is right there. We've got our random 9 list. Here it is right here. And we can't be more excited. Well, we could. Most people aren't. There we go. Hey, now it looks really cool. The Random 9 list is brought to you by a crackhead research team that we put together, and they polled people to find out 9 different reasons for things. And this week, it is 9 random reasons why we moved to Fridays. So it's right here. They actually printed it out. I mean, they did a great job.
Right.
Read their handwriting because it's all shit. Anyway, so we've got for you here coming up. Trying to hit the post with the end of it.
Wow, you can't hit the post and talk about hitting the post.
Talk about it at the same time.
As soon as you talk about hitting the post, it's done. You've disqualified yourself from hitting the post.
Straight to Cae at this point.
What? Maybe. No.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going, yes. Yeah, you should. That would be great at this point. No, 9 random reasons why we've moved to Fridays, and we've got it here for you, fresh from the depths and trenches of our research. So, as always, we like to start with we like to start with a little rim shot just to get the juices flowing.
Guys are too excited in the background. It's Friday.
Production team's just all on edge. Yeah, there you go. There you go. And see, Bill's out.
He's always
fired
there
up.
with
He
us.
wants to do it
He's
all
always
live.
there with us.
We'll all write it. We'll do it live.
Right.
All right. So we're gonna start with number 9. Random reasons we moved to Fridays. Well, our bosses were getting annoyed with our appointments, messing up with our actual work schedules. There's the timing. Well,
Right. Heyo.
all right. Now, Andrew, why don't you give us number 8?
Number 8, 9 random reasons why we've moved to Fridays. We have realized that we failed to take over Tuesdays from Taco Tuesdays. TRKS Tuesday just doesn't have the same roll off the tongue that Taco Tuesdays do.
And really, we gave in and just
started
ate
eating
tacos
all the tacos
after the show. So
we ate all the tacos. Thank you, Mrs. A, for the great salsa on our tacos.
I really did eat the tacos. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It's and they were quite delicious because my wife made them and they were amazing. All right, yeah, yeah, we're gonna go with that because after I eat that many tacos, trouble's a brewing. I'm just saying. I'm not going to be graphic about it. I'm just saying there's things that probably shouldn't be happening that happen. Number 7, random reasons why we moved to Fridays. We wanted a better reason for the question, is it Friday yet?
I like it very well.
Yeah.
No,
nobody likes
Red
that.
alert!
No, okay.
Red alert!
Oh, whoa,
Oh, gosh.
hold on, my hat. How do you like my new hat, by the way?
It's not bad. No, it fits you well, and it reduces
In
the
other words,
glare.
it covers up the shiny.
Yeah, it reduces. The makeup department is very happy.
Oh, he was so much hair on his head.
Right.
Back. All right.
Yeah. See, I just got a thumbs up from Bonnie. Yep, that's right. We're good.
What? From who?
What? From the makeup gal, Bonnie. You know.
Oh,
everybody
Bonnie.
knows.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, it's also
come
my
on.
mom's name. I was like,
Oh.
what? Why is my mom? Okay.
That's your mother. That is your mother's name? I had no idea. I just called her mother random. Okay, that's great.
All right. Where are we at? We've completely
Number
lost
6.
people. Number 6.
Yeah.
Number 6.
Number 6, 9 random reasons why we moved to Fridays. The random questions of insanity voice actually started saying the show should move to Fridays. And he just kept saying that over and over and over until we decided to move the show to Friday. And then he shut up.
And so now he just says, okay, it's not even close to time.
No, not yet.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's see, you got them all fired up. You had to do that, didn't you? All right.
Well, it was true. We had to
It
shut him up
is true.
somehow, so we
And
moved.
it was
the
just
show.
haunting us constantly. It was
Right. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. The number 5 random reason why we've moved to Fridays. Well, since everyone was always still recovering from the weekend on Tuesdays, we wanted to just catch them with the fact that they were still drinking while the show's going on. So
Yeah.
we figure maybe it'll be a little more funner interaction or
Probably. No.
we'll see. All right, Andy, number 4.
Yeah. Number 4, 9 random reasons why we moved to Fridays. Well, and since they've just started drinking on Friday, then we're funnier when they start drinking.
And then we just make them sad.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. We kill the buzz. We are the buzz kill.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
see, the
Yeah.
audience agrees with us. Our
Right.
hand
Kind of.
audience effects. All right. So now number 3, random reasons why we moved to Friday. Since Matt E isn't part of the show anymore, and he always wanted to do it on Fridays, we just switched it just to be spiteful.
Oh.
Ew.
Oh.
Yeah.
We love you, Matt.
No,
we love you,
love
buddy.
Maddie. And and he's too busy playing with his cats anyways. So
It's true. Yeah.
he's a busy man. He's got things
Right.
to do. Plus, he's been taking a lot of photography. So, let's see. Oh wow, we're already to number 2.
Number 2.
We've really moved quite along here.
Yeah.
All right.
Number 2, 9 random reasons why we moved to Fridays. Chris, did you know that Friday actually comes from the old English word Freestag, meaning day of frig? It celebrates the Norse goddess of marriage, fertility, and love. Well, now you do. And did that have any impact on our decision to move the show to Fridays? Only we will ever know.
How is fridge dog? Fridge dog? How is that an old English word? That sounds like a Danish twisted drunken slur. I went to Fridays.
Right?
Fridays.
But no, we are now on the day of frig. So
and the way it's typed out here is absolutely. I mean,
there were some things like there's characters that are together that I thought never were together.
It's
Well,
if I was thinking, I'd be like, oh, that's Friday.
There's flats and there's ups and there's overs and that was a fun fact to pull. Freestag.
Yeah.
The Random Christian Show now on Freestag.
Oh, we're gonna come up with a promo for that, baby.
Yep. Now on Freestag, day of frig.
All right.
Day of frig. All right.
Oh, we're having way too much fun with this.
I was so worried about how that one was going to go over. I'm glad it went over.
Oh, it went over all right.
Went way over.
Way over. I'm glad I got the hat on still. That's
right. Yeah. No.
Let's see. And here it is, the number 1 random reason why we moved to Fridays. Well, we're actually going to embrace the random in our name and not just do Fridays. That's right. It could be Wednesday next week or Thursday or maybe even Sunday. Who knows? Maybe we're going to be so random it's going to be crazy. Crazy, that's right. I said it. Just kidding. It's really Friday. Our wife said it's okay, and so it's
thanks.
Only Friday.
Yeah.
Fridays.
Johnny, we haven't yet. We're just opening the show. We have a couple segments that we're going to run through. Cae should be here in about 10 minutes.
Wow. That just gave us a big wow. Hurry the hell up. You guys are boring. So,
right.
There it is. 9 random reasons why we moved to Friday. And that's what it is. It'll be happening soon, Johnny. I'm sorry we're not as entertaining as we thought we'd be. But hey, we're glad you're here. And if you're watching out there, make sure you join in on the chat like Johnny did right there. That was beautiful. Let's see. We've got Cae Cordell coming up. Again, author, minister, abuse survivor, chicken raiser, wood chopper, house builder. I mean, pretty sure she's taking over pretty much everything where she's at. Let's see. I will. What do we got going on? Oh, it's almost time for our random news, isn't it?
Random news?
That's right. The Random News Network, our crack team of news reporters from down in Houston, Texas.
The Texas area.
Something. Anyway, they research all week long, find out great stories, and bring them to us in their own unique way. And so we'll bring them in and let them do their thing. I'm trying to find where it's at.
You got it?
We're going.
You want me to get it?
I got it. All right. So here we go. Maybe it's coming up. Wow. We really got to get our timing down good. All right. Here it comes. The Random News Network with Travis Dunn.
Good evening, America, and thank you for joining us at the Random News Network. I'm Travis Dunn.
I'm Jennifer
Can
Lee.
you hear
And
it?
I'm John Miller.
Our top story tonight is Nikki Haley, out in Nevada, has set a record. Figuring out how to...
Okay. What happened?
You okay? It was working.
Oh, I just can't hear it again. Okay.
Yeah,
awesome.
so that's what's going on.
be
There
on
you
a
go.
ballot
Sorry,
by
Kate.
herself and losing. That's right. She actually lost to herself being the only name on the ballot. To which Pee Wee Herman said, wait a second. You can't even win playing with yourself? Loser!
Now, there are new reports showing that picking your nose can lead to Alzheimer's. This may explain Biden's memory loss spotlighted in recent press conferences. I guess sniffing all those children really gave him something to dig out.
Speaking of that, if you watched the Super Bowl this Sunday, you've noticed that they had the Black National Anthem and then later on the American National Anthem. There was a compromise of 3/5.
Speaking of keeping scores, Megan Jordan has been convicted of having sex with her 14-year-old student. And on his bed, on the living room rug, the dining room table, and the end table.
I don't want any green eggs and ham, said Sam I Am.
That's right, John. And the only reason Miss Jordan was even found out is because a student who wasn't getting any snitched on her.
Little snitch.
Speaking of unreleased tension, Carlson just interviewed Putin. One of the topics covered was the conflict in Ukraine, where Putin requests for America to stop sending Ukraine weapons. To which America responds by sending them more weapons. Because why defend your own borders when you can defend someone else's?
Speaking of borders, Chicago has become the largest city in the U.S. to pass a ceasefire resolution, to which all gang members have now stated, well, we'll give it a shot.
Well, in Florida, they have another problem, actually. They have a kangaroo issue. Kangaroos are running loose all over apartment complexes, to which Willie Nelson and Snoop Dogg have both weighed in on the subject and said, kangaroos?
It's Kangaroo Jack.
G'day, mate. What are they smoking?
Well, whatever it is, a 25-year-old TikToker from North Carolina, Sam, would really like a piece of that. Because, ladies, if you really want to emphasize your assets, try starting off with something that's your own size. This TikToker recently shared her journey of her first date that was full of wedgies, prime for the pickin'. And it ended with her in the hospital with cellulitis. Cellulite's bigger, meaner, more bacterial cousin. Her body positivity really ate her shorts.
Delicious. Now, the story that we originally thought was from Florida man was actually Alabama man, where they stole a 200-foot antenna with the equipment to either try to start their own pirate radio station or help E.T. phone home.
Well, speaking of Florida and Florida man, there's a guy who actually bought a new pickup truck and drove it straight out into the ocean.
That's a new way to meet the Little Mermaid.
Darn Skippy. It's also a great way to drown your sorrows. And on that note, I'm due for a drink. So thank you, America, for joining us. And may the good news
Be yours.
Oh, he's off the wagon again.
God save the midgets.
Then they'll sit right for a week.
Oh, just get thrown across the wall and Velcro.
Yeah, but it might be mayonnaise this time.
No, it's always something sticky with Travis.
I know.
Is that manatee mayonnaise?
No, it's mayonnaise made by man.
This day and age, it's all about the facts. Facts are made up of the 5 W's. The who, the what, the when, where, and the why. So we here at Mrs. A's famous Salsa BUENA thought we'd break it down for you and make it easier. The who is simple. Mrs. A is a teacher and a mother that loves to cook and reward people with delicious food. The what? Well, that would be the 3 amazing salsas she makes. Regular, hot, and salsa verde. All made with the freshest ingredients and no onion, so you can spread the love, not your breath. The when? Well, when isn't there a good time to enjoy Mrs. A's famous salsa buena? Where can you get it? Well, how about all throughout California and Southern Oregon, even in Nevada and parts of Wyoming and Colorado, and they're growing all the time. If you don't see it in the refrigerated section, ask for Mrs. A's famous salsa buena or just go to mrsafamous.com. Now you ask yourself why? Well, because buena means good, really good. And that's because Mrs. A's famous salsas are made with fresh ingredients, and you taste that in every bite because it's buena. So be good to yourself and get Mrs. A's famous salsa buena. Go ahead, eat buena.
Yes, that's right. Eat buena. Thank you so much, Mrs. A's famous salsa buena, for sponsoring this show and helping us be where we're at. And by the way, yes, they are growing. In fact, they may be going national.
Ooh. That's good
There's
news.
a lot of things in the works, and so you'll be able to find Mrs. A's probably lots of places that you can't right now. Which
I think we need to ask for a label redo and have her, Mrs. A's famous salsa buena as seen on the Random Christian Show.
oh, ooh.
I see.
Well, I need a little handlebar mustache. Yes,
Right.
that would be perfect.
My grandfather had one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really
He had-
seems
he-
like a pain in the butt to do, though.
Yeah, but he like a champ every day.
Nailed it.
Every time I saw him, he had him. Yeah.
Did you ever just go, like I'm riding your bike?
No, I was a good grandkid.
No. Always getting that extra $1 from Gramps, didn't you?
That's
There
right.
you go.
Yeah.
There you go. You're a good boy. Now go away. You're good. You're good fun. You're good fun. Now go. Sit in the corner. All right. Speaking of sitting in corners, let's bring out of the corner and into our depths and show this amazing woman. She's written several books now about the surviving her abuse and sexual abuse growing up and into her marriage and then surviving through it. And you just got to hear the story this lady tells. It is absolutely mind-blowing. Her books have actually helped settle court cases. I think they're used as reference. Let's bring her in here. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to our show, Miss Cae Cordell. There she is.
Hello.
Hello, Miss
How are
Cae.
you? How are you both doing?
Well, better now that we've finished the Random 9 list and moved on from that, especially
It
for
was
Johnny.
hard
because-
It was hard to survive.
you can survive.
Great. Now she's gonna write a book about surviving through the Random 9 list.
The Random 9 list. How I made it through.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we're a mess. We understand. Thank you so much for being here, Cae.
I got my wheelbarrow and shovel ready.
And a little lie and oh boy. Well,
Our first and last show on Friday.
right. That's right. This is the grand finale of the grand opening of the grand show thing. Right. Let's open up the chat here a little bit too. Cae, we want to thank you again for your patience with us since we had technical difficulties the last time we were going to try and bring you on. So happy that we were able to make this happen. So let's jump right in, I guess is what we say. You've been through quite a bit. There's no joking around about that. And I'm going to let you kind of explain the whole end of it here, but I think, how you've come through and all you do now is just absolutely amazing. How many books have you written now?
I've got 17 books published.
17. I can't
Yes.
even write half a note to my wife. And you've got 17 books. And now these are all based through your life experiences and whatnot, correct?
3 of them are. The rest are. I have written a romance novel, a murder mystery. I have 5 books of poetry, sermons, and I had a lot of sayings. I started writing when I was teaching high school. I would come into my classroom a day and write a saying up on the blackboard, and my students had to write for 10 minutes. At least 5.
Nice. Oh wow.
So I started.
Oh, I
I
like
started
it.
keeping all those, and I put them through all my books. Now my books could be named after you, the random Cae Cordell books. In these 5,
Yeah.
5 poetry books, you never know when you turn the page what you're going to find.
Right.
They're my fun books.
No, that's awesome.
Now,
My crack research team did not notify me of all these other books. I knew of a few, but let's delve into this a little bit, Kate. Okay, now, like I said, I've not held anything back. There it is, right there. Redbird Phoenix, right? I'm sorry, it's a little
yes,
off center.
that's my life story up to age 18,
Right.
of surviving as a child.
And now
that is.
Go ahead.
It tells, it's a story of survival and a story of really, truly, I found God at age 11, and he became the source, strength, and, helped me survive. And from there, I've built a ministry over the years. I've been in the ministry 61 years, pastored churches and traveled in evangelistic ministries. And for the last 32 years, I've been working with victims of sexual abuse and domestic violence. I do counseling, and I help them find an attorney, and I go to court with them, and I train them how to act in court and for the attorney, so it doesn't cost the victim anything.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Just so amazing. And now let's, I think we've kind of grazed over the fact here. Okay. You say you're an abuse survivor. You are abuse. I mean, let's just throw it out there. You started out being abused not only by your parents, correct?
I was sexually abused by my mother, dad, brother, and 3 uncles.
Yeah.
And my mother, later, after I got grown, she was found to be a sociopath.
Wow.
And she was a violent sex offender and died that way.
Oh wow.
It never changed. Neither of my parents took responsibility of their abuse. We were beaten, starved, and I was sold at age 12 to a guy for a farm. And when I refused to go, he made my dad give him back the $500. That was all I was worth.
Wow.
What?
Jeez, man. Okay. And I mean, it's still, I mean, I've gone over it a few times, I'm just trying to fathom this.
Christian, sexual abuse is not random. It is rampant. We are at epidemic proportions here in our own country with sexual abuse.
Yeah.
When I was working book, I interviewed 1,000 women, and 500 of them had been sexually abused in some manner. And I couldn't fathom that. Each victim feels like they're the only person being abused. And when I went to my professor at Boise State University, and I said, I have to prove my thesis. You develop communication theory, and then you have to prove it. And he said, all I can tell you is run over to the FBI and ask them. And when I went to their office and asked them, they said, that's the problem in America. Your figures are right, but society won't accept that sexual abuse is that it is at the next door. It may be have been in their family, but I found 1 out of every other woman had been abused, and every third man had been abused. And
Wow.
I don't think those figures have changed. We have been taught to be ashamed and to hide our abuse.
Yeah.
I'm speaking out to let people know it's okay to name your abuser and be adamant about it. You have done nothing to be ashamed as a victim. You have done nothing to have to forgive. What has been committed against our children in this country, to me, is an unforgivable sin. It's against the very holy nature of God. So why are we forcing our children to say they are sorry to the perpetrator when the children haven't done anything? They've been wronged.
Absolutely.
But this is a societal issue within churches. And I hope by my speaking and being very blunt about it, that it becomes okay for your little sister, your little grandchild, your own child, believe them when they say they're being touched wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I wasn't interrupting. I was just agreeing with you.
Well, any question, you can ask anything. I'll try to address it. I'm not doing this for my pleasure. I'm doing this to bring justice, and so that the victim will become a victor, and that, survivalship is a lifelong process. There's no way that I could go into depth and explain the abuse I lived through except by the grace of God.
Yeah.
And to me, I find that fantastic. But the sad thing is, so many victimized people, they get mad at God and blame God. I call them God haters. And I tell them, it's okay. You can be mad at God. That's fine. Tell him so. He doesn't mind us being angry at him. But sometime or another, to live a productive life, we have to forgive ourselves, most of all, and then ask his forgiveness. Tell him we're sorry for being mad at him. And this is what I teach. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, Kate, when you were going through your abuse, and now that you've sort of come into this role as a supporter and a mentor, and someone that ushers other people through their abuse, was there someone? And again, if we're giving too much of the book away, I don't want to. But was there someone there for you when you realized what was happening to you and you were finally starting to get out of it? Was there someone that was there for you to help you through that spot, other than God, obviously? But was there someone sort of here on the ground to help?
No, I really started getting help when I was about 44, when I found out what my husband had been doing. I had had gotten a lot of college education, and I realized I needed help. So I went to a therapist, and I kept myself in therapy 20 years. I wanted to make sure that I was okay.
Right.
And I want to encourage people out there to seek out therapy for abuse. I mean, that's the most wonderful idea you can have, is to go and get help. You can find someone. You may take you 3 or 4 therapists, but you have someone to guide you into a path of healing. And I advocate healing comes through education and understanding, and working with someone that you can talk to and let your feelings out. Don't you guys laugh. I have my clients imagine how they would kill their perpetrator. We worked through a scenario, maybe for weeks, of out loud dreaming what to the guy who raped me if I had a chance.
Right.
Yeah.
They get the idea and talk through it and realize they don't have to say, I'm sorry. I wish you could see the faces, how they light up, and the joy they
Right.
start living the first time.
Yeah.
And that's
And
got to
it-
be
it
some
is
kind of
a
release for them.
I don't tell you my dream of what I wanted to do to my ex-husband.
Actually,
My-
yeah.
I would
go,
love
go.
so first and foremost, Kay, I just want to echo what you said about therapy. And again, it might take a couple people to find someone that you really gel with and can feel comfortable talking to. I think a lot of people get scared, especially if it's their first time in therapy, and their first person doesn't like you. And again, it's a very it's a very sort of unarming relationship where you need to feel at perfect comfort with the person that you're discussing all of this with.
Yeah, and
So-
it can be intimidating too.
Yeah, and so I love that you brought up the fact that it might take a couple people to find the person that you're going to ultimately get through this with.
And sadly, let me state this. Too many ministers that women or young men or older folks go to for therapy, to talk about abuse,
Yeah.
they force that victim to say, you did wrong. You
Right.
you enticed them. You had lewd conduct. That is absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
Do not with that type of counseling. You need healthy, wholesome leadership in walking out of this valley of abuse. It's the hardest
Yeah.
walk you'll ever take.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And okay, now I got a question. Just for the people listening on the audio version of this, we are talking with author, sex abuse survivor, just amazing woman, Cae Cordell. She's authored several different books, but now you keep talking about how the church is hiding this. Now, this is not all churches, mind you. This is just some people use the church to hide this, right? That's what you're saying. This is not a super common thing, but it is common in churches to just hide it by saying, just give them grace and forgive them and move on, right?
They move pastors who have been charged or going to be arrested. I belong to the Pentecost Church of God.
Mhm.
And I've seen them move pastors over and over to keep them from getting arrested.
Wow.
And
Oh, geez.
I was told that if I ever talked, I would be sued. They forbade me to tell about a deacon in a church in Baker City, Oregon, who had molested 34 family members.
Oh, wow.
And they told me I couldn't tell it. I resigned from the church. I told them I will tell it.
Yeah.
And this is happening. I think there's about 250 preachers arrested daily for sexual abuse in this country.
Goodness gracious.
It is absolutely, it's in every church, every religion there is sex abuse ongoing right now. There's victims who are being threatened. And what I'm trying to do is educate the public, let them know that this is out there, and be out of that Baker City, Oregon scandal and debacle. I wrote this book, When Forgiveness Isn't Enough. And that's looking, because I was told to keep quiet, that I had to forgive my ex-husband for what he'd done to my children by ministers in the Assembly of God Church. When I started working on this, the scripture does not support this scenario at all. And scripture is about healing and having justice. And what we're talking about right now is for people trying to find justice, to end it, to stop this in their families. As I think I've already told you, on each side of my family, 6 generations back, incest has been brought forward. And this is common in so many families.
Yeah.
And it's doctors, lawyers, teachers, coaches, the average grocery store clerk. All these people are potential sex offenders.
Yeah.
I taught in a medium security prison. 75% of the inmates were sex offenders.
Yeah.
And my education finished there.
Yeah.
I have no innocence left after I got done teaching in that prison.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure they explain things.
Yes, and very graphically.
I was gonna say, and didn't hold anything back either.
No, and the more they could shock you, the better they thought. They were in control. But another hard thing is to realize that narcissism is rampant. The narcissistic behavior, it's got a broad spectrum from each end.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And in the men will fall. A lot of them have histrionics. Used to be a woman thing only. Now a lot of men are histrionic. I mean, they could put on the best shows they are and whine.
Yeah.
I walked into one courtroom in Oregon, and when the perpetrator turned around and saw me, he stopped his lawyer and he went down guilty immediately, because I don't go to court unless I know the guy's guilty.
Right. Yeah.
Now, you used the term there, histronics?
Yeah, histronics.
Okay.
HISTRONIC, histronic.
Okay, what does that mean? I'm sorry, I'm naive to that.
It's basically putting on a good show.
Oh, okay. So it's just okay.
Yeah,
I got you. All right. Oh, whatever, Andy, Mr. Dictionary, I know it all.
Hey, no. I grew up in the theater, and histrionic was a very used word in there.
And see.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, but in the case of, don't be too histrionic, don't be overly theatrical or melodramatic, rein it in a little bit. So yeah, so histrionic is playing the part a little too well. You hear those guys that say, hey, you're at a 10, we need you at a 2. Right. Histrionic's at a 10.
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
See? And now we've all learned something. This show is it's educational. That's what it is. And entertaining, and it's just a lot of fun.
Well,
There's a lot of people out here watching this. Hey, if you all have questions, please feel free to use the live chat here and talk with us. We'd love to answer some of your questions. Now, okay, so Cae, you're saying it's rampant in a lot of in the Christian churches. You were talking about how they move pastors around. Now they do the same thing in the Catholic Church. They'll move priests or cardinals or whoever. They'll move them around all over the world. So yeah, I totally get what you're saying about that. But like I was saying, are they also just trying to like tell the people, the people that have been abused? These victims, they're just telling them a lot to just say, hey, give them grace, give them forgiveness, move on, right? And giving them some kind of soft counseling.
What is happening today is that church boards, church pastors are forcing the children to come in and sit down with the accused perpetrator and admit they're wrong, that they've lied, or make the child apologize to that perpetrator. This is happening right now in a church in California and in Assembly of God church. And this is quite often the story. And that child at that point, his or her life has been destroyed.
Yeah.
Rape causes the mind, the body, and the spirit to separate. That's and PTSD happens to the children. The separation of mind, body, and soul is disassociation. It happens much like our returning war veterans. Now, our war veterans deserve every honor that they can have, but so do our rape abuse victims. Only 1 out of 100 10 out of 100 may tell, and only 1 out of 100 will ever be convicted in court. Our court system, they do not have the capability, and they have not caught up to the times of being educated. What happens to the abuse victim? They're left with a life of hypersexuality, drug abuse, alcoholism, self-loathing, self-hatred. I've had a little victim that would sit and beat herself black and blue and draw on herself, and told me that would make her ugly. So if her dad came back, he wouldn't want to touch her. She'd be so ugly.
Well, Lord.
And these victims often are made to feel ugly. I was told I was the ugliest. Do you know, at my age, just the last few years, that I can look in the mirror and actually think, you're not so bad looking, old woman. And I always felt ugly all those years.
Wow.
And unfortunately, that's what is happening to our children.
Yeah. And again, you said yours started when you were 11, correct?
No, my abuse, I can't remember when it did start. It started from probably the time I was born.
Wow.
But the earliest I can remember was 3 years old and being abused by my mother, and then an uncle, and then my dad. My dad was a very nasty individual.
Yeah.
And that you have audience here, I hesitate to be real blunt.
Please do. We don't have any
Yeah,
licenses to protect, so that's why I wanted you on here. I want people to realize the reality of this. You're talking about your mother. You're talking. A lot of people, like, they all think it's all men. No, it's not. There is women.
Matriarchal rape is not something that's been a lot of studying done on it.
Right.
Women
it's not talked about because the media uses the man versus woman so much. Instead, the people need to be aware that there are women out there abusing these children as sexually and physically, and that's like I said, that was one of the key things that was just blowing me away when I was talking to you a little bit. And that's why I want you to be blunt, be honest, be real. That's why I want you on here. I want people to hear this.
Women like to look at, my mother, I'll just be blunt. My mother would strip us naked and beat us and get turned on. And then she'd go masturbate.
Mm.
Now, this was her thing. This is being very blunt. My father's big turn on was to go under her dress, fondle her, and then expose himself to us children and play with himself while he was playing with her.
Wow.
And something that we have sex trafficking, we have mothers and sex abuse movies, and selling them and trafficking their own children. I had one client that had a few sisters that her mother would dance naked and put the little girls in pretty dresses, no panties, send them around the room, and the old men paid to play with those. This stuff is real. It's not made up. It's happening. In one of my classes that I taught in Idaho, in middle school, I had a teacher come to me and she said, "Cae, how do I send this little girl home knowing that her dad's going to rape her all? Can you turn her in to the sheriff?" I said, "No, ma'am. It is your responsibility."
Yeah.
"Well, I can't do it. She belongs to my church." I said, "You are legally bound." This is something else I want to emphasize. As a minister, as a counselor, a teacher, as any other person in public that you're over children, you have 24 hours to report that suspected abuse, or you can be arrested and charged with a felony yourself.
Yeah.
And people
once you know of it,
make sure. I beg your pardon?
What you're saying basically, once you know of it or suspect it, it's your duty to report that.
Yes. Absolutely. There's hotlines in every state to DHS, Department of Health and Services for Children. And there you could call your prosecutor's office. You go down to the police station, make a report. You can call the sheriff's department. You, as a human being, are responsible for your neighbor's children.
Right.
If they're, they're being abused, if they're being starved, not fed, if they're nasty, the house is nasty, have guts enough to pick up the phone and make a call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Help those children.
Yep. Because they need every chance you can get. We've had Russ Tuttle on and Lee Tom. Russ Tuttle's from Stop Trafficking Project, and Lee Thompson is he's part of a local program here in Kansas City about helping get prostitutes off the street, and anybody sexually abused, things like that. They have safe homes for them, things like that. I mean, he goes in and like they attack the predators. He's always part of a attack team and stuff like that. And this is, I mean, it's more real than anybody really realizes, because it's so washed over, because this world has become really, I mean, wouldn't you say that the world, through our media and everything, it's become numb? I don't think there's any other word to use. We've really become numb to it. I mean, kids see pornography everywhere, even in just mild forms. They see it and they become just, it's like, oh, okay, whatever. It's, I saw it on TV, blah, blah, blah. Or, I saw it on my friend's phone or whatever. And so they think it's just part of the world at a certain point. So they accept it, and they need to know that it's wrong.
And that it's real, and it's not something that we can giggle behind our clean little hanky and wipe our nose and think, I've handled that, so let's move on. But no, we've got to let the world know that this is rampant. And as I mentioned when we were talking privately, my goal is, and why I'm coming out so boldly, is we need a congressional, constitutional amendment to protect domestic violence victims and for children who are being, sexually abused. And we need the laws regulated in every state to where they're equal, and rather than a perpetrator walking away and not, convicted one state, go to another state and he's safe. Arkansas, I was just heard the other day, it was number 2 in the nation for sex abuse. It has climbed to number 1 of being in this country of sexually abused or domestic violence victims.
Oh, geez.
And every 68 seconds while we've been on this show, someone is being raped. And that's a national statistic. These are things that are just out there. We've had there's about 400,000 victims that are being raped a year. I've got some facts here. They may be a little bit out of date. 80,600 inmates are raped every year. 60,000 children were victims of sexual abuse just in a year. And military, over 20-something thousand women and men are being sexually exploited in our military organization.
Wow.
9 out of every 10 victims are girls. And these are things that it boggles the mind. 55% of rape victims are hurt near their homes. 15% are hurt in a public place. 10% are hurt in an enclosed public place. And RAINN, RAINN, is an organization. I used to work a hotline for them in Washington. And they're out there. They are offering help to victims. And I'd like to throw this out there. I'll travel anywhere to speak to a church or an organization. I've been cleared. I speak on Army bases. I address PTSD, resilience, and suicide. I don't expect a stipend to come, pay my way, my transportation, my food and lodging, get me there and back, and I'm happy. And I teach classes. I have a workbook that I teach from that people need to understand. They can contact me on my website. I will answer. I'm more than happy.
This up here, by the way.
I'm more than happy to help.
There we go. I've got on the crawler here Cae's website. It's caecordell.com. Cae is spelled C-A-E. Cordell is C-O-R-D-E-L-L. For those on the audio version, caecordell.com. If you just Google her name, you're going to get just a whole big sheet of information all about Cae and everything you're doing. Now, I want to go back here for a second. You were talking about where the sexual abuse happens. You were talking about public places. And then you were talking about enclosed public places. What does that cover? That's talking about like schools?
Yes, libraries, bathrooms, in a grocery store, any public place that a child can be snatched and put behind a closed door.
Okay.
That's about as blunt as we can be.
Right. Yeah.
Your child is not safe. You go to school, go to your kids' academic, conferences, watch their sports, be involved. You can't just have an baseball coach or a teacher taking care of your child, because they're going to prey on people. It takes a while to groom a child and to get them to trust you, and then they own that child. In one of the high schools where I taught in Idaho, in that school, we had 1,000 victims, young boys, over a 10-year period who had been preyed on by one of the guys that worked in one of the school programs. He had taken them out to his farm, gave them liquor. Ugh. Video after video taken of him sexually abusing those boys. And the school principals and the superintendent was so sickened in this department. I worked with those men and brought them down. I know how to help you come down that, work with you. And they were so sick. And here yet I was still a victim, but I learned how to work and help law enforcement to overcome this and work through it, and so that they're not so traumatized. And those principals had to watch those 1,000 students and try to identify them and name them over a 10-year period of all that abuse. Do you know how many parents stepped forward and prosecuted that man? One parent of a 15-year-old boy stood and said, my son was raped, and took that man, and he was charged. Should have been 1,000 victims, but he was convicted on one boy. They're ashamed that this, and why patriarchy, or men in control, have taught us. You brought up the Catholic Church. Patriarchy started in the early millennium of the Catholic Church. It is passed down that men are in control. The father runs the church. The father has the last say so. He'll grant you forgiveness of your sins. I call it hogwash. I don't care what church it is. Yeah. We need to step forward and back our children.
Absolutely. No, that's 100%, because they don't have a voice. They really don't. And
no, they don't.
And a lot of people, oh, it's just an overactive imagination. He was probably just, or she was probably just, it gets so scooted under the rug with the children because they, they just don't understand, or they misunderstood something. No, these kids are, you have to take it serious. You have to.
Children.
Go ahead.
Children just don't have the vocabulary to describe such intimate sexual details unless they're older.
Right. Well, and because they know nothing about it. And, God bless them, they shouldn't.
I thought it was just normal. It happened every day. I didn't have any words for it. I didn't know what it was called.
And that's the thing too. Somebody like yourself who just grows up in it, and they know no difference. There's nothing for them to base it off of. They think that's happening with their neighbors down the street. Yes. And it's so unfortunate. So that, which makes all the more important when you know of something, or have good suspect of it, report it right away. You are not a
Yes.
snitch.
And I'll
You are not a nosy neighbor.
I'll hold this book up.
Okay.
I'll hold this book up. It's the story of my marriage.
Right.
It's called The Hat Man.
Father's transgression.
And I not only lived sexual abuse as a child, but unfortunately, I grew up and married exactly what my mother and dad were.
Right.
Ugh.
And when I worked through that with my 3 children, he was convicted. When my child told me that her dad had hurt her, I forced the first mental evaluation of a child in Idaho, forensic psychiatrist exam done for my children, and I forced them to take them to the CARES unit and have a physical exam done, and all 3 had been sexually abused, and all 3 proved through the mental exam that they were telling the truth.
Yeah.
And there was, to me, no one was supposed to touch my children. They were
Right.
innocent. I wanted someone in my life to stay innocent. And because that's the desire of a parent, you want your children to be innocent. And I
Right.
came out of that at age 44 fighting. I grew up at that moment. I got some backbone, and I said, no more. Our children are too
Yeah.
precious to cast out and say they're not worth fighting for.
Yes.
And any woman that will allow a man to stay in her home knowing that he is sexually abusing her children, they should go to prison.
Or vice
For that. Yeah. Or a woman that's abusing the children and the man knows about, both of them should go to jail.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if I sound harsh, it's because I've had debility. And there's no
Yeah.
words.
Well,
There's no words. There's no words I can use to say except get some gumption, and ask God to help you have a backbone.
Okay. And that's exactly what I was about to say. You have to be harsh at this point. We have
Yeah.
whitewashed it and talked over it and made excuses for it long enough. We need to be done with that.
Yes.
This has to be, and that's like I said, we've had a couple other people that are heavily involved in sex trafficking and the prevention of all these sex abuse and whatnot, and the predators. You can't be gentle about it anymore. Russ Tuttle goes into schools and he's very politely blunt, I guess is the best way to say it, because he is in a public school usually. I mean, he's invited in, but he's addressing these kids, and they've got their counselors and teachers there, so he has to make sure he's wording the things right. But yeah, you have to basically say, here it is. This is what happens. If this is happening to you, you need to do something about it now. You need to talk to somebody now. You need to fess up. Don't be afraid, because it is wrong. And so many, like you said, so many people have that norm of, oh, well, I've dealt with this for so long. They become oblivious to it. It's very.
I think we've built up an immunity.
Yeah. It's a numb effect. You just don't know the difference, and so you're like, oh well, nobody else is doing anything about it, so why should it? And that's again the other wrong attitude.
Well, we have student bullying. Children are bullied in school, and we have basically children who form tribes in school, and if you're in their group, they're going to be bullying you because you belong to another group.
Right.
And then we have in school, in college, they have the fraternities, sororities, and nowadays, too many girls are having to have sex in the sorority they can belong to it. It's called hazing.
Right.
But
Yeah.
to whitewash that, and it's not what it is. And it's a harsh thing, and it's sad to know that we value ourselves too little. Now, there's one thing that I'd like to a counseling book, kind of different here, is the fact that girls struggle with rape and young because they're told others, and they're told by their church that they're deprived of their virginity and that it's lost when they're raped. Not true. I teach, and I have a program in my book that can be used to help girls and young women literally have their virginity restored spiritually. And it's so healthy when they can have this done, and such a blessing to them. It takes away the guilt society lays them on for being a victim. And that was one of my goals writing the counseling book, is to give the there's a place to lose that guilt, to be able to lay it aside.
And now that's the last book you just showed us, correct?
No, that's the When Forgiveness Isn't Enough.
Okay, well, forgiveness isn't enough. Now, which one of these books you've written? You've written a book that they use actually in court, correct?
This is the book here.
That's the book right there. Okay.
When Forgiveness Isn't Enough. Yes.
Yeah, and this has actually helped support cases and won the court case against the abuser, correct?
Yes.
And
so
they use
signed the
that as
book
a
over to any law. Well, I signed to any law firm that's fighting for a victim that's been raped in a church. I will sign and release that book for them to use free. I don't charge for that. I'll send the book to them, and I will send them a written release so that they can use it in court. Every term of rape is in that book is described. Anything that the court might have a question about the victim, it's in that book.
Yeah. Now, why do you have to give a release for that?
Do what?
Why do you have to give a release for that? What I mean,
it's
the book
stating that they have for it to be used in court, the author has to release all rights to the book, that they can use it as the lawyer deems necessary.
Oh.
And I don't mind doing that at all.
Yeah. That's just another part of our legal system, playing games with everything.
It's to protect the lawyer from plagiarizing the book. Or
sure.
See, I own the book. So if I release that for them to use, then I'm not reliable for how they use it.
Right.
That's
okay.
It's just
I guess that makes a lot more sense. All right. So my head is just like swimming. It was like when we first started chatting a while back. I got off the phone with you. I was just like, oh my gosh, and again, for the people on the audio version of this, it's Cae Cordell, Cordell. She is a sex abuse survivor, author. And now all your books are available on Amazon, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So yeah, if you just Google her or just go to her webpage, caecordell.com. Again, the spelling is CAECORDELL.com. You can find the books there, or it'll lead you to all the stuff she's written about, and the amazing stories of your life that you've survived through, and on different stages. So I mean, how hard was it to write that first book, Cae? I mean, how long did it take you to get that put out?
Well, I first wrote the first version, A House of Darkness. And it was hard to write because I just knew my parents was around the corner of the house going to kill me. And a side note is my dad died in 2014. He had a bounty on my head for several years, $750 offered for anyone to kill me because I'd written my book. And I lived with that until he died.
$750.
It's all I was worth, honey. I didn't gain much in value.
I was gonna say you got traded off for a $500 farm when you were a kid to $750 bounty. Oh my Lord.
Yes, and the one of the deputy sheriffs from the county I was raised in, he knew about this, and he begged me not to come up there, but I never stopped going. And up to where I was born, you can't live in fear.
No, and
that is why writing the first book. Now, when I wrote the second version, rewrote it, it was such a spiritual release, finally knowing I could tell the truth and not be afraid.
Right. Yeah.
And it was you're so weak when you first tell, and your mental growth has been so stunted.
Right.
You're like a child that never got to grow up. And the more I talk about this, the more I grew up, I became free. And you laughed at me about, I build houses for fun. I cut trees for fun.
Yeah.
I go out there and work. I've got about 2.5 acres cleared here the last 2 or 3 months working by hand. And that is my
he just went out and pulled the trees up by their roots.
Yeah. So after
Go ahead.
So after you're done with that first book and it releases and it comes out, what and then you start to get you start to hear people's feedback of the book. What was that like for you? What were some of the emotions going through? Like, was it a lot of this is happening to me, this is happening to me, where do I go, what do I do? Or was there on the side of, were there people saying, oh, you're crazy, why did you put this out there, what's why would you do that? What was the response like to the book?
I have been called, I think I've been called every name in the book. Some I didn't realize were still there out in the public. I have been cussed. I've been called crazy, a liar. And, the thing is, the book has been out now several years, and not one family member has stepped public and said she's a liar in anywhere.
Right. Yeah.
I think they all know at this point. They're like,
I've had several in my family, step forward and say I was abused by certain ones in my family. And there's multiple abusers in our family. This is not just to my family, to my brother, but it's there's 43 cousins, and some of them are sex offenders, unfortunately. And I know that. They can't hide from me. I know what they are and who they are.
Right.
And I know who they've abused. And it breaks my heart to know this. And it's something that I'm hoping I hope by my speaking out that incest in my family on all sides will die.
Right.
Literally be washed away by truth.
Yeah.
Truth brings light to the darkness, and abuse, it exists in the blackness of men and women's hearts.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of bringing the light to something, because once the light's in there, it starts glowing and getting bigger and bigger.
Yes. It's like a tree rolling down a hill. It's going to gain momentum, and more people step forward and say, I was abused, and that's my goal.
Yeah.
All I can do, if any of the audience, if you step forward and start telling about your abuse, I applaud you from my heart, and I'm proud of you, and you're doing the right thing.
Yeah. I found it very interesting. You were talking about earlier how you said Arkansas was now listed as one of the #1 states for sexual abuse, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now,
And
go ahead. I'm sorry.
and the legislature here now, Governor Huckabee, Mike Huckabee, tried to get the law toughened. He asked me to come back and testify, and my job wouldn't let me fly in and do that. But I do have utmost admiration for him for getting at least some law changed for the victim and for helping the victim. We now have 6 advocacy centers in the state that are where the cops can come and interview the child. We need more of that. We need court training for the judges. We need training for the health and welfare to look. So many children in the health and welfare system as foster children. I think I'd be safe in saying at least 75% of those children have been sexually abused in the foster care system.
Now, where do you think the best starting point is? You were talking about the education for the judges, and I mean, do you think that's where it really needs to start? Is the education for these, politicians and in the legal system to get them to be aware of these signs, these telltales, for them to raise their suspicions and go, "Hey, wait a minute."
They are the top echelon of providing the means in the doors, but this starts down at ground level with each parent being responsible. And I think if more parents are arrested and convicted of abuse and for not telling, there has to be felony charges. I think then the fear of God becomes law, and more people will step forward and say, "Look, this child needs help," or "I was abused."
Yeah.
Arkansas just recently have given us a 2-year moratorium that we can file charges back to the beginning of our abuse. And I thought if my dad and mother had been alive and brother, I'd have brought charges. We've got a 2-year window here that charges can be brought by anybody in Arkansas who's been raped or abused.
Wow.
That's
the legislature is.
And now that's through the Huckabees, correct? They were the ones that really initiated a lot of that.
Yes. Well, that's through
Sarah I know
Huckabee
Laura
Sanders is now.
Or Sarah.
Sanders is our governor now, and this legislative says passed this latest ruling.
Okay. Yeah, no, the Huckabees don't seem to play around too much. But now going back to what I was saying, you're talking about Arkansas being the #1. Now, there's a lot of other states that are actually really close.
Yes.
I mean, and we're not talking southern states. We're talking northern. We're talking West Coast. We're there. It's not just like centralized in this one little part of America. It's all over. And it's
in every corner, every school, every religious organization. It's everywhere.
Yeah, and there's a lot of woke states, I guess you can call them, or whatever.
Well, it seems that the society in America has become obsessed with sex, and out of that obsession, we see pornography. The sale fee is the #1 business in this country. And the sale of child pornography, it's right up there in that. It's horrendous. And it's worse addicting than drugs or alcohol. Porn is.
Yeah.
And we're seeing young children. And we've made it acceptable when we should be shouting from the rooftop, take them out and hang them in the public square.
Right.
For participating.
Well, and I'm guilty of this too, but if you look at the change in not just our media access, but the media from like TV back in, okay, let's not even go that far back. TV in the 70s, okay, like the early 70s, 75s or whatever, to nowadays, okay. Now I'm not going back to the 50s where it was very straight-laced and, you know, people didn't even hold hands sometimes. It was, you know, very, very rigid. Now, I mean, you go from the 70s where there was a lot of, you know, first kisses and things like that, to nowadays, it's mind-blowing what you can get away with on TV. And now that TV is barely regulated anymore, I mean, you know, thanks to
I can't hardly. It's hard for me to turn the TV on and see some of the, I call it immorality, right in our living room.
Yeah, I mean, it is absolutely mind blowing.
It is explicit violence, explicit sexual scenes. It's almost as if they're seeing how far they can push us till we say no.
Yes.
The morale, the morals, the mores of this country, we don't have any.
Yeah.
And we can blame that on a lot. The church blames it on the government. The government says the church is at fault. It's each individual in this country participating in any of this. We ourselves are at fault.
Yeah.
Because we haven't said no and stopped it.
Right. Yeah. The only person you can do is blame the person in the mirror. And absolutely. You know, coming from a radio background where when I was really starting to hit our stride, I worked with a partner, and we were entertaining, but we were pushing boundaries. We were always, you know, our motto was, until they say no, we're going to go. And that's what we did. Mm-hmm. And of course we got kicked off the air 3 different times, but you know, it's like, oh, there's the electric fence. Can we touch it? How long can we touch it? Oh, I'm going to hold a little bit longer. And then, so that's a lot of, became kind of a norm for a lot of things, you know, not just in radio, not just in TV, but in people's social lives. And now through the internet and social media, people have this kind of, it's like breaking the fourth wall in acting and stuff. They have that wall there where they have this kind of anonymity, but not really, you know, and they have this pretend life. And then, you know, like the influencers and things like that, where they say, oh, you know, I'm doing this and this. And then once they go off their little camera, they're completely different, but they push that boundary because they were playing that role, you know? And so they make it look all cool and hip, and it's dangerous. And again, just totally corrupt. And it's amazing what we allowed to get away with.
It seems like people who are corrupt hate the innocent. They want to destroy any good that's in the neighbor, or in, you know, we used to have Andy Griffin and that type show, Leave It to Beaver,
right?
Those type shows. And now we have a society that hates innocence.
Yeah,
I don't know how to explain it. It's upside down. Where we used to promote innocence, now we coat it with ugly things of the world, so that we feel justified in being evil ourselves.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it is. It's the enemy and the evil of it. You know, it's just
and there's
filling right-alongs in that.
There's
big
no moral boundaries. Well, they removed all boundaries. Society, we don't have any.
Yeah. No.
And then we're shocked. These horrible, we've got shootings occurring in churches, in schools, out on the street. just rampages of some young child, possibly been till they break. They go out and just anybody that can, and it makes no sense. There is no logic. In the prison I taught in, my youngest student was 13 years old, in there for life for murder. No possibility of parole.
Wow.
And I had several in the prison, and it was an eye-opener to me. I thought I lived it all till I listened to their stories. And I had a young man at one day in class. He comes up to me and whispers, "I'm going to be killed because I refused the prison rapist." And I jumped up and said,
wow.
I pretended that he'd said something ugly, got him out of the classroom and saved his life. I was going to kill him. And it was that guy roamed the prison. He was a monster. And we've tried to idolize monsters like Manson. He's got followers till he died. And we've idolized other people, but you let a man like Billy Graham, nobody wants to idolize him. And he was a wonderful man. I enjoyed, he was one of my favorite people.
And did so much good,
Yes. And we don't have people that have his stature. Ministers don't have that kindness. He was an honest man. He was a minister on that of my time that I could say he didn't have a finger at him as doing something bad. And he had my total admiration. We don't have heroes today.
Right. But then the other problem is you got guys like Joel Osteen who totally discredit good pastors that are out there, that are doing good.
Oh, yes.
Everybody bases it off of this. I can't say what I want to say.
Anything that feels good has to be godly. That's not true.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
There is a price to pay for our being bad.
And that just falls right into the false prophets and misteachings of the Word of God. And it's so sad.
Feel good, quick.
Right. Yep. And yeah.
I'm very blunt when I go to a church. I work with the pastor, but I don't preach easy. Sin.
Yeah.
And that's where I start from.
And that's why I titled this episode "Rising Above" with Cae Cordell, because you don't hold back and you go straight at it and get right to the point. And that's like I said, that I think we had just a 15-minute phone conversation. I was just so blown away and excited talking with you about this. It was amazing. And I was so excited to have you on. Again, this is Cae Cordell with us, sex abuse survivor, author, minister, therapist, advocate, tree chopper. You build houses. You are just an incredible woman, Cae, and I love you. I think you're fantastic, and I'm just so excited for everything you do and everything you've been doing. And we're gonna start running short on time here. So let's push out your book. I want you to talk. Let's get your books up here again. Let's talk about them real quick. Just at least these first three. Okay.
This is Redbird Phoenix. This is my life story from birth to 18. Redbird Phoenix.
Yep.
This is the story of my marriage, basically up to now. I spent 20 years married to a sex offender and abuser.
Right. And now that's the one that they use in courts.
No, this is the one we use in court when forgiveness isn't enough. From victim to survivor. A minister's counseling and consulting perspective.
All right. And now all these
books is a must read.
I'm sorry.
On Amazon.com. They can order any of the books from there.
Right. But they can also get them from your website, correct?
No, I have it all connected to Amazon.
Oh, okay. Okay. But you can go to the website.
I've got several interviews, got a lot of information on there. All the script written on Redbird Phoenix. We're looking for investors with guts, gumption, and God to make the
there
movie.
We go. Yeah. Now, weren't you talking with like Aaron Allen or something like that about that?
Who?
No. Aaron Allen. Okay. No. All right. I think on the how I found you through the advisor page. I think I thought maybe he made a comment about it. I thought I saw his name on there. But okay, so yeah, if you can go to our website, therandomchristianshow.com, and we will have a link to your website, caecordell.com, which is Cae is spelled CAE, Cordell is CORDELL.com, and you can find everything there. Again, all these interviews, her books or links to her books. It's just so much information, just leading to other websites, I'm sure, or if they need to contact you, right?
Yes.
They can contact you directly through there.
My phone number, my email, everything's on the website.
Okay. And now just because we've mentioned this, how many people use that to come after you and attack you? How many phone calls do you get a day where like somebody, what are you doing today? I hate you.
So far, none. I've had some family say things on Facebook, but no one else has had any courage.
Wow. Well, then see, that means you're doing it right. And yeah, they don't want to mess with you. So if they do,
well,
we'll find them and hurt them.
I'm retired law enforcement from the prison too. I've had a lot of training, and I don't play games. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't put myself.
Hey,
I try to keep myself pretty.
Yeah, there's just no other word for it.
I'm legal to carry, and I do know how to use what I carry.
Yeah. Oh, there's yeah. You are like the Gene Wayne of I don't know. I'm trying to think of somebody.
I prefer Annie Oakley.
There we go. Yeah, Annie Oakley. There you go. There you go. I like that. Yep. Dead eye shot. All right, Cae. So hey, maybe we can follow up with you maybe a little later on down the year or something like that. I'd love to have you back on and talk some more about this. I would absolutely running short on time, and I want to make sure we get you back on and let's talk some more about it. Maybe we'll get a little symposium going. I'll try and get Russ Tuttle and maybe Lee Thompson, stuff like that. We can all talk about this and do a little
that would be fabulous.
All right. So now anything else you want to talk about real quick? Are you going to be appearing anywhere, doing talks or anything like that? I want to make sure
I never know if you got I never know what I'm going to do. If anybody's I just live from day to day, fellas.
Yeah.
Go out. Does anyone have any questions?
Well, yeah, the guy somewhere in the building is wanting us to do random questions of insanity with you. But yeah, we want to bring you back on. So we'll get that planned out here in the future. And again, caecordell.com, or we'll have a link to it on our website, therandomchristianshow.com for her books and all that, and her website. But yes, Cae, apparently it's I know it's time. I get it.
Okay.
The gentleman up in the rafters is pushing for us to do random questions of insanity. This is our little Rorschach mental test of Well, it's just a big mess, and we like to throw it out at people and see how it works. We were just, wondering if you'd
Okay.
want to play, if that's okay. See,
You
I did
betcha.
this.
Us have at it. I've got my shotgun handy now, fellas.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Oh, geez. All right.
Okay. I don't know how well we have 2 base questions.
Oh, so wait. You weren't here when we were discussing this beforehand, but she is not a big movie watcher.
Oh, okay. So first
No.
question's out the window.
Yeah.
All right. But our second one, pretty much everybody kind of has an opinion on it. This is one of the base questions, which is, what is your favorite sandwich and what all is on it?
A good fried egg with a slice of cheese, mayonnaise, slap it between 2 pieces of bread, and I'm fine.
Ooh, what kind of bread?
Anything that's low calorie.
All right. There.
I love. Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead. What were you saying?
Anything with Sarah Lee bread.
Right on. All right. Okay, Andy, let's start with your question.
Yeah. So what is the most beautiful place that you've ever seen or been to?
When I died and went to heaven. I died and had a death experience, and one of the most fabulous experiences that I could have ever had. And here, I think Yellowstone Park was one of the most beautiful places I've been.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Oh yeah. And I will add Yosemite to Yellowstone as well. They both begin with Y. Interesting. Just noticed that. But yes, beautiful, beautiful country. All right. Let's see. Well, what's the better pet, cat or a dog?
Definitely a cat. I have Miss Pearl. She bosses me. And Mr. Hobbs was my favorite cat. He was like a guard dog. Best cat I ever owned was Mr. Hobbs.
Now, was Hobbs named after the cartoon strip Calvin and Hobbes?
Yeah. Yes, I love
Mr. That's great.
Hobbs.
There. Yes. Okay. Then now we're even better friends now, because that's like one of my all-time favorite cartoon strips. All right, Andy.
It's your night to order pizza for the group. What are we ordering?
Everything on it but the dish rag.
I love it.
And that gets a little bit of this. Yeah. The dish rag. I think I've actually had a pizza or two with dish rag on it. So
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not bad. That's such a great answer. Everything but the dish rag. I'm going to go to my favorite pizza place and go, hey, you got anything with just everything but that dish rag right over there?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to steal that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to use that. Let's see. Okay, what's your number one bucket list item?
I want to go to Ireland.
Oh.
And see where my grandmother was raised on my mother's side.
All right, so you got a lot of Irish in you.
And I want a 37%.
Oh, wow, that's pretty good. 1/3 for sure.
I could get citizenship.
Oh, well. So everybody comes around you during St. Patrick's Day and gets the luck of the Irish.
Absolutely. Just don't pinch me, because I'll pinch you back.
Hey, you just shoot them straight in the foot. Let's see. Okay, Annie.
What's that one talent that you've always wanted that you never got, but if you could flip a switch today and get it, would that talent be?
Learning to stand on my head.
What? Why would that be? Where? Have you just never been able to do that, or?
Never been able. I couldn't. We had tumbling in high school, and I couldn't even tumble right. I was always very awkward, and people, other classmates could run and stand on their head against the gym wall.
Yeah.
Here I am. I barely can turn over and not just kill
You
myself.
just called it falling or flopping around.
Yeah. Yes, I was the fish out of water.
Let's see. Well, see, Andy asked his standard question. I can't ask mine because you don't have a. Let's see. Just because I know you're going to give me an honest answer. Which famous celebrity would you want to punch in the face? I need to. I got to know the answer to this.
Bill Clinton.
Hey, now, let me tell you something. I don't think that's very fair of you. You know, I need my fair shake too. That's my Bill Clinton impersonation, by the way.
Yes, I recognize that.
You're like, yeah, it wasn't that great. So move on. Andy, one more.
Yeah. Your food is bad at a restaurant. Do you say anything? And if it's really bad, do you pull your gun?
I just asked the chef, can I give him lessons?
Right.
Yes. Oh,
I love it. I love it.
Perfect.
That's great.
Oh, all right. Let's see. One more. Okay. Cae, I think I know the answer to this, but you have 30 seconds to tell the world something. What is it?
Fight back and never be afraid of evil and never run from it. Face it head on.
Boom. There it is. Mic drop. Nailed it. And let's get a little DJ air horn in there. Yeah. All right, Cae. I cannot thank you enough so much for being a part of this show and coming and visiting with us. We do need to have you back on. Would you please just be able to make some time someday to come back on and just inform us some more? Like I said, maybe we'll get a little forum going on, but we would love to have you back on anytime, please.
You guys are absolutely fun. I love it. And I'd love to be back on your show.
All right. Again,
you're my kind of people.
At caecordell.com, CAECORDELL.com, or just go to our website, therandomchristianshow.com. There will be a link right there. All her books are on Amazon.com. If you put her name in there, you're going to find them all. Just go to Google and hit Google.
Yeah.
You'll find her there and get all sorts of information. Cae, thank you so much for being a part of this show. We really, really appreciate you. Love you so much. Thank you, ma'am. Please.
Thank you, Cae.
Thank you. And God bless you both.
God bless you. Thank you so much. Oh man, she is so awesome. I hate this. We need a longer show.
Right. I know. I know it always right when we get like I feel like we scratch the surface a little bit for about a half an hour, and then like we finally get into the good stuff, and when we get into the good stuff, it's time to pivot.
It's like,
you know?
yeah. And then
but
that's over with.
Yeah.
Shut up. Yeah, I know.
But again, I think it's good to always to have them back on to dig deeper, because we've gotten through that awkward sort of us getting to know them and them getting to know us phase.
Right.
And I mean, and that was evident too with Dale. That was evident too with Dale for sure. Was that the last interview with Dale was much more. I think there was a lot of discovery going on with him.
So much,
anyway.
so fluid, and so much fun.
Amazing interview, just an amazing story. Yeah, again, if you guys want to know more, visit our website, caecordell.com, because it's the story's truly amazing, and what she's doing now is just it's inspirational.
Yeah, and how many people she helps is just I just think
Incredible.
it's so great.
Incredible.
You know,
Yeah.
and you heard she's so simple and down to earth. She's like, oh yeah, just pay for my food and lodging, and I'll come and
Yep.
talk. And
Yeah.
you know how many other people are like, oh well, I need this, and I need a
Yeah.
car, and I don't want it to be this little economy car. I want a nice car, blah, 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 whatever. It's like
Yeah.
she's like, I just need to get out there and talk to you and let you know. And
Yeah. Well, I mean, Cae's, I use this term sparingly because there are so few people like this out there right now, but Cae is the real deal.
Yeah.
Like that is the best. I think that's the best way to describe her. Like she's the real deal. Like what you see is what you get with her. And
and she ain't holding back.
Right. Yeah.
That's, she shoots straight from the hip and nails it. Right.
Literally shooting straight from the hip.
We got this guy. Maybe.
Yeah,
there he is right there. Zach from Chill Monkey Brains. That's right. The ska punk band. I think we agreed on this earlier. No effects-ish kind of sound to them. But just oh my gosh, so much power and so much fun. Very excited to get him on. Just chatting with him through emails and whatnot. He is just he's going to be a lot of fun to talk to, and it's going to be right before he does a show, I think, in Ocala or something, Florida. So he's going to be all fired up. But anyway, got a lot of other things going on for the rest of this month. Hey, if there's somebody out there that you want us to have on this show, shoot us an email, therandomchristianshow@gmail.com. We'll do whatever we can to try and get these people on. I want to make sure you guys are getting. What happened to my? There we go. I'm sure there's a way I can loop that. I'm just,
lazy.
We're lucky the show is on the air.
All right. Yeah.
Let's put it that way. But anyway, yeah, if there's somebody out there, just shoot us an email, therandomchristianshow@gmail.com. We'd love to, or go to our Facebook page or make a comment on the YouTube page, whatever. We will do what we can. But anyway, we're working on a whole bunch of other people. We're so glad we have Fridays here for you now. Spread the word. Tell your friends. Again, 4 Central is when we do it, which is 5 Eastern, 3 Mountain, 2 Pacific. That's right. I nailed it again. But right now, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. So for this guy right over here, Mr. Andrew, and for myself, Christian, we want to thank you all so much for being a part of it. Like, follow, share, subscribe, and tell a friend. Peace out. Have a wonderful weekend. God bless you guys. We'll see you next Friday right here on the old, that's right, crazy ass show.